What's good? You're checking out the RCWR show. Lee Sanders here. Tuning in Thursday night, June the 18th, 2020. How the hell y'all been? Is all I have to say. Is all I have to say. What a weird 45 minutes I've had. That's all I'm going to say. A weird 45 minutes. Hey, solid episode we got for you guys tonight. Do appreciate you guys checking out the show. Streaming live on a couple of different platforms. We're streaming on YouTube. Streaming also on Facebook, Mixer. Also streaming on Twitch. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. Got the chat room open, so I'm able to see what you guys are saying. So feel free, popping on in there, saying hello and everything. Promise you guys, this is going to be a nice, laid-back episode. How the hell y'all been? I'm very curious. Let me know. I want to know what's going on with you. How has it been in your neck of the woods? How's the whole COVID pandemic been playing itself out? Are you even in phase 1? Or are you in phase 2? Have you even gotten to phase 3? I'm curious. Wherever you are on this planet, let me know how things have been going on for you and your loved ones. I can tell you, over here, it's interesting because I had a conversation with someone that's from North Carolina, and they were telling me how down there, nobody's wearing masks. I couldn't believe this. I was talking to her for about maybe 5, almost 10 minutes, and she was telling me how nobody is wearing masks down there. They're just walking around like normal. And I asked her, I said, okay, well, is the movie theaters open down there? She said, now that's not happening down there. Right now, we're pretty much doing drive-through theaters. I'm like, yeah, like when we were growing up and you're outdoors and you all are watching on the big screen. I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, yeah, that's what we're doing out there. I'm like, okay. I was like, well, what about eating at restaurants and all that? She said, nah, eating at restaurants, you can't you can do it outside if it's patio and all that, but, inside, nah, you pretty much just got to go in, pick up. That's it. I'm like, okay. But nah, they're not wearing any masks down there whatsoever. It's just pretty laid back. It's night and day. Cause I think what it was for her, I think she's originally from North Carolina. I think she ended up actually having family and friends that were down there. So she was down there visiting because she actually lives up in the DC metropolitan area. And she was telling me how it's night and day over there. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Like, really? Like, just it's crazy when I hear that type of shit. But nah, DC, we holding it down over here. I know what's got a lot of people talking right now is Florida. Yeah. And I'm supposed to be having a wedding out there in Florida, and I gotta tell you, I'm not really sure. I mean, the wedding isn't supposed to be happening for an entire year, so a lot can happen, obviously, in an entire year. But, to hear about the spike in numbers from particularly out there, you hear about the NBA, which is planning to make its return. They're trying to return in July. And we'll talk a lot more about that in the show, but it's just everything. Florida's been making the news, and not really in the most positive way that's humanly possible. I don't know. I'm just paranoid as it is, because it's, I don't want that. And my immune system is a little bit as it is. Like, I don't really want to be near that. Keep me away from that shit. But yeah, so I gotta have a talk with the missus, obviously, and figure out, okay, I know she still wants to do Florida. I definitely would love to do Florida. I'm really, if you ask me, what's my best wishful thinking right now, it's that way before the wedding even goes down, that you can definitely just walk into a local clinic, hospital, whatever, and if you think you have it, they do the tests. Yep, you got it, and boom, get a prescription right then and there. Because currently things are just really moving freaking slow as it is. Really freaking moving slow. But yeah, that's the nature of the beast. You know, sometimes you might not be able to get it right when you want it, but it comes better late than never, right? That's usually how the shit goes. Hope you guys are gearing up for the weekend. Hard to believe, too, by the way. We got the 4th of July holiday literally right around the corner. And I don't know what the hell is going to be happening with fireworks this year. Is fireworks even on anybody's minds right now? Is the 4th of July even on anybody's minds right now? Because it's very well possible we could be having a virtual fireworks this year. It's very well possible. We got the president saying he would love, as far as here in the nation's capital, we got the president saying he would love to have the usual festivities that happens on the 4th of July. Muriel Bowser, you know, she hasn't exactly met eye to eye with the president and his administration. So whether or not it's actually going to be happening, not really sure. For those of you that's in the New York, New Jersey area, I'm curious what's going on with the Macy's parade and all that. Are the fireworks happening this year as far as you know? Is it still touch and go? Let me know. I'm very, very curious. But yeah, I think it's very well possible this year. We're probably going to just strictly be doing virtual fireworks. And that's definitely not quite the same. Matter of fact, I remember, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember it right, last year, when it came to the fireworks, and out here in DC, our fireworks, it was really, really bad because we had muggy weather. I mean, it was really, 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 really bad. And I remember somebody had tried to show it live, and you couldn't really see anything that was happening with the fireworks. Yeah, I mean, because all you saw was basically a whole bunch of fucking fog, and you could barely see the fireworks. And if I remember right, it was either last year or the year before. The missus would definitely know because we usually watch the fireworks on the TV and everything. But I remember a lot of people were complaining about the fireworks and all that. And I want to say that same year, PBS had decided, well, nah, since the fireworks is not really popping, we'll just show fireworks from last year. And that had people, you know, in an uproar because they didn't like the fact that they weren't seeing live fireworks. They actually wanted to see it in real time, uh, fog or no fog. They wanted to see live fireworks. So it was really weird. But, if it's a case where it's going to be virtual fireworks this year, I'm not sure how you guys would personally feel about that. I mean, me personally, look, as long as you could mix it in with, and that would be kind of tricky if you were to try to do live performances from different artists. I think that'd be really tricky. But as long as you could somehow incorporate the virtual fireworks with celebrities, musicians that's already done something pre-taped, but everything is syncing and you're pretty much getting it, as you're getting it, and maybe they can have whoever is hosting that event, be at whatever headquarters in real time, and you can see something of a live social media feed at the bottom of your screen or something of that nature, so you kind of get that sense of, hey, it's kind of real time. It's not really, but it is kind of live. I think that would probably make most people happy, but I definitely agree with a lot of you guys. It definitely doesn't beat the real thing. I remember a couple of years ago, actually, no, I said a couple of years ago. It was a lot longer, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. It was almost, oh, wow, yeah, it was more than 10 years ago, actually. I remember the one time I had went to the nation's capital for 4th of July weekend, and I was right up under the Washington Monument. I had a really great spot, and I was checking out the fireworks. Oh my God, man. I could barely hear for a good minute. It it took a couple of hours for my hearing to be restored because the fireworks were so goddamn banging. I mean, it was, whew, it was something else. But man, great sights, great sights I was seeing all over the place, man. It was an awesome experience. I tried to take as many pictures as I could and everything, but after a while, I just, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, pictures is nice, but to actually be there, it's like, put the phones down. Just enjoy what you're seeing, because that's the stuff that great memories are made of and shit. So, yeah, it doesn't beat the real thing. It doesn't beat the real thing. I don't know. Gotta think about your health first. Everybody else's health. It's kind of tricky around these times. Definitely tricky around these times. So yeah, we're gonna mix it up a little bit. We'll definitely talk some wrestling, talk a little non-wrestling and everything. Mix it up. And if there's a particular topic or two you guys want me to get into, poke your head in the chat room. Let me know. Otherwise, you want to just kick back, say hello. You could do that as well. But kick on back, relax, and everything. Check it out. I don't even know where we want to start the show. I mean, we'll work our way into talking about AEW. NXT and Impact and all that. We'll work our way into talking about that. I see one of the biggest pieces of news that has a lot of people talking, and it's funny too, because everybody's damn near running around with their heads cut off, at the news and everything. But probably the biggest piece of news that came out was, and if you're watching the news on Fox, you definitely saw the report this week. I already heard about it, but it was still just a tad bit surreal to hear it on my local Fox 5 station here in the district covering it. But at the same time, now it makes a lot of sense. By the way, I gotta do a quick sidebar. If you guys hear a bunch of humming in the background, like an engine or whatever, I don't know what's going on. I think somebody's doing a case of Fast and Furious not too far from the house. It does not sound like they are testing the engine or anything. It sounds like maybe some drag racing, or I don't know what's going on. But I tell you what, hopefully it's getting ready to wrap up, because otherwise somebody's gonna be calling non-emergency. I can promise you that. But if you guys hear it, let me know. Maybe I can kind of do a little adjustment on the fly here. Y'all really shouldn't be able to hear it, but yeah, they've been doing their Fast and Furious bullshit now for probably about, I would say probably within the last 30 minutes. I've been hearing it. It's weird because you can kind of tell when, okay, some type of vehicle is going past, versus, okay, there's a vehicle that's just staying in the same place and the engine is just revving up like a motherfucker. No, it literally sounds like somebody is going around and around in a circle and just revving up the engine, and something's moving for sure. So here where I live, which is a pretty quiet residential area, you got nice amount of blacks, whites, Hispanics. It's a nice diverse group in my neighborhood. We're all middle class basically. We're all pretty quiet. We keep to ourselves. Let's see a fellow neighbor. Hey, how you doing? Hey, you need some help with that? Let me help you out. Shovel snow off of each other's sidewalks and all that whenever it hits. Once in a blue moon, take care of somebody's car, it's got some snow on it, or make a way for them to move their vehicle out. Most part, we kind of are like that. Nice knit group community over here. And I can tell you, hearing the noise that I'm hearing right now, I would not be surprised, because this is a pretty quiet residential area. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody had picked up the phone and called the cops and was like, look, I've been hearing this for, hey, whatever, Boys of Summer, like that Don Henley song goes. But getting back to that Fox thing, yeah, I mean, by now you guys know a WWE developmental star had tested positive for COVID. And I know everybody is, pretty stunned to hear that. I'm not really stunned to hear that. And anybody that, want to call me on bullshit, go ahead. I can pull up the audio. There was an episode of Wrestling with the Topics, if I'm not mistaken, during March. And me and Tammy, we reacted to WWE still going on, possibly doing shows. And we have brought it up early on that same episode. Okay, so obviously WWE is going to continue to keep doing its thing despite everything that's going on. Do you suppose that they're going to get shaken to their core? Do you think maybe what'll stop them in their tracks is if it's a case where one of their stars tests positive? And we both weren't really sure about it, but we both kind of came to the same conclusion. It's going to be interesting to see how WWE is going to be conducting itself if and when somebody tested positive for COVID. And that's exactly what had went down. So WWE, they tried to do their very best to get in front of this story as soon as the information had came out. And, they put out a press release letting everybody know. Yeah. And the statement, I actually am looking at it right now, the developmental talent who was last on site at WWE's training facility on Tuesday, June the 9th, has tested positive for COVID-19. Since that time, no other individuals that attended the facility have reported symptoms. Symptoms. WWE Associate Medical Director Jeffrey Douglas said in a statement, however, out of an abundance of caution and to ensure the health and safety of the company's performers and staff, all talent, production crew, and employees on site at the training and production facilities will be tested for COVID-19 immediately. Now just remember that part right there. I want to read that to you one more time. And I quote, however, out of an abundance of caution and to ensure the health and safety of the company's performers and staff, all talent, production crew, and employees on site at the training and production facilities will be tested for COVID-19 immediately. Following the test results, WWE plans to proceed with its normal television production schedule. And as you all know, WWE has been using the Performance Center pretty much since all of this had went down. They gave us WrestleMania, they gave us Backlash, In Your House. Everything has come from out of the Performance Center on top of Raw, SmackDown, the NXT shows. So you had a WWE employee that tested positive for COVID back in April following a dinner they had with two healthcare officials. The employee was placed under quarantine and has since recovered. The company said that the matter was low risk to the talent and staff as no one from the company had any contact with the employee after the dinner. Remember, Florida deemed WWE as a essential business going back to April, which allowed the company to continue filming. Because I guess if you kind of stop and think about it, they kind of fell in that category of, I guess you could say it was media that they fall under. Because when you look at the categories, you're going, a little murky here. What exactly? So this is very, very delicate what's going on right here. Last part of this statement, we are producing content on a closed set with only essential personnel in attendance, following appropriate guidelines while taking additional precautions to ensure the health and wellness of our performers and staff. As a brand that has been woven into the fabric of society, WWE and its superstars bring families together and deliver a sense of hope, determination, and perseverance. That's what they said at the time. Can I read that to you one more time? We are producing content on a closed set with only essential personnel in attendance, following appropriate guidelines while taking additional precautions to ensure the health and wellness of our performers and staff. As a brand that has been woven into the fabric of society, WWE and its superstars bring families together and deliver a sense of hope, determination, and perseverance. Hope, determination. I don't know about all of that. That's news to me. I'm with you on the bring families together. I'm with you on that part, but everything else, I don't know about that. Okay, so going back to that first part there of the statement that they put out, that doesn't look good. And I'm gonna explain to you the reason why. Because it's okay. So wait a minute. So for the safety of the company's performers and staff, all talent, production crew, and employees on site at the training and production facilities will be tested for COVID-19 immediately. Well, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. I thought testing was going on. I thought for sure they were always being tested no matter what. So even when shit had went down with this said employee on June the 9th, I would have loved to believe that regardless, before June 9th, definitely on June 9th, especially after June 9th, motherfuckers were being tested. No matter what, they were being tested. And if they weren't being tested, then who dropped the ball on that would be my question. Because to hear a statement such as that, you can't help but say, okay, so obviously there's some gaps that apparently WWE let happen. You're supposed to be staying on top of this. And it's kind of funny too, because somebody had brought up the question about Roman Reigns on the last show, about, hey, is it possible he might be back by, and I basically had said in a nutshell, given everything that's going on right now, that man's got a responsibility to himself, his health, his family, their health. He's got young kids. And then you hear this. Are we still itching for Roman Reigns to get back in the ring? I hope not, because that'd be pretty selfish at this point. I gotta tell you, I really, it makes me a little bit sour to hear how things have been kind of handled. Because let me tell you something, the correct statement to put out, just from a PR standpoint, the correct statement to be putting out there is WWE, pretty much since the pandemic, first broke out, and since we have been using the Performance Center here in Florida, we have diligently, continuously been testing all of our performers, our staff, production crew, management. We've been testing everybody. It's pretty rigorous. It can be a bit tedious, but when it's all said and done, it's just making sure that everybody's health is okay. We don't want anybody to be compromised in any type of way. Nobody is forcing these people to, come be here, blah, 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 the whole spiel. So that's the type of statement I'm looking for. I'm not looking for, we're going to test our folks immediately. Like, no, you should have already been testing everybody, and you should be able, within this same statement that you're putting out, you should be able to say, this had went down. Everybody, had already gone through rigorous testing. Everybody has been going through testing since we've been using the Performance Center, and to date, this is the first instance we're second instance, if you really want to get technical, but first instance from the standpoint of it's affected a developmental star. And that's the first instance right there. But it's like, no, we've continued to test everybody, yada 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 yada. Since this incident had happened, where this person caught it on the 9th, we never missed a beat. We continued testing people, and just like that. So, seeing that statement just really, if it doesn't kind of make you raise an eyebrow a little bit, I'm not really sure what will. But I'm not surprised. I mean, me and Tammy pretty much had called this back in March. We called this back in March while all of this shit was going on. So, I hate to say I told you so, because it's not a dick sucking contest for me right now. Trust me, I don't get no joy whatsoever. No, I don't want to. No, so don't perceive it such as that. In this instance, I don't like that I was right. I don't. But what the hell do you think is gonna happen? Show me a place anywhere on God's green earth in this world where, okay, well, hey, you can go here and you won't get anything. Guaranteed. Show me a place. That's really hard to do. That's really hard to do. And from the moment that you're leaving your respected home, hotel room, whatever, your space, from the moment that you're leaving your respected space, you're leaving that little bubble and you're going outside of that bubble. Roulette. You are doing serious roulette. And knock on wood, knocking on the wood right now, knocking on the wood that you're able to go back home and in one piece, you're okay. Sheesh, Lord knows that as far as my health goes and everything, I try very, very hard. I try very hard to be on top of everything. Because before the pandemic, I was always on top of hygiene. But since this whole pandemic has broken out, I haven't been a fanatic, luckily, but I've definitely, times two. I've definitely been more, I don't know how it is for you guys, but I've definitely been more cautious about, what exactly I'm touching when I'm out in the public. And, if push comes to shove and I'm touching something that is, I really had no business touching that, but I had no choice but to touch it. I'm making sure that, don't rub your eyes, don't touch your face, don't put your hand or finger in your mouth or, none of that shit. I try to do my best to have sanitizer on me. Shit, I was listening to Dr. Oz just the other day. I don't know how many of you guys had heard this too, or even aware of this shit. But with what's going on with this pandemic, it's gotten so crazy that Dr. Oz has even recommended that when it comes to public restrooms, if you can help it, don't use the public restrooms, because there is a lot of, bacteria. And he basically was saying, from what he was able to learn of the coronavirus and everything, it will basically be dormant in places like a public restroom and all that. And he basically was saying, by all accounts, under no circumstances, don't use the public restroom. He went on to say, if you do have to use the public restroom, then be very cautious about what you're touching, because, when it's all said and done, you're following up behind somebody else, literally. And so his whole thing was, take a little Ziploc bag This is his own words. You can actually research this yourself. I'm not bullshitting you guys. But he actually said you could take a Ziploc bag, you could put your own tissue in there, put your own wipes, your own bar of soap and all that, and you should be good. And he also said with regards to washing your hands. Now, this should be a well-known fact. Everybody should know this shit by now. But if you don't know this shit, I guess I'm hipping y'all today. But you know how we have the blow dryers, the hand dryers that's in the restrooms these days? Well, Dr. Oz doubled down on that and said, no, don't use that, because there are a lot of germs that just basically, it's ricocheting all over the place, and it's definitely coming back on you and everything. And so to that point, he said, have paper towels. Use paper towels instead if you can help it. If there's no paper towels, remember that little Ziploc bag I was just talking about? Try to put some paper towels in there as well, so that you can wipe your hands and everything. Of course, no brainer for this one. He also said, mind what you're touching while you're in the restroom. It's like, man, it's like a whole bunch of, okay, I just don't use the bathroom. How about that? But long before I even heard Dr. Oz say that shit, I was already, when I'm at work, it's got to be an emergency. I mean, I have no other choice. I have no other choice, because I hold it. I don't care if it's number one. I don't care if it's number two. I hold it until I get home. I've got to be, I'm not dropping to my knees. Oh, I gotta go so bad. Oh God. It's not one of those type of situations, but it is, once in a while it's, man, I thought I was going to be okay till I could get home. I gotta go. Man, fuck, and it's very seldom that's happened. Like, probably twice so far since the pandemic. Probably twice so far. I've had no choice but to use the restroom. But if I can help it, it's like, I just hold it. Yeah, but you're so mindful. You got to be more mindful about, all the shit that you're touching and all that other shit. But going back to WWE, I can only imagine, what's going on. Not only WWE, but Impact Wrestling as well, because I know Impact Wrestling, they have resumed tapings not that long ago, so they're still doing their thing, in front of no audience. And yeah, I can only imagine what it's like for, the wrestlers right now, that are, going to a place for a taping, leaving their bubble. I'm sure you guys in your own way, you can relate as well. Going back to that whole bubble thing, you're inside your bubble, that comfort zone, your home or whatever, and you're going outside of that because you got to do XYZ, and you're playing roulette. You hope that everything is going to be smooth sailing. You can in and out, no problem. I've heard many people say the worst place to go to right now during this pandemic is Walmart, because apparently, I'll have to rely on you guys. I'm curious. One, do you even go to Walmart? Two, if you do, how's it been? But a lot of the stuff that I've been hearing from the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, we just abbreviated DMV. From what I've been hearing, Walmarts have been bad. They have been bad. They do not fucking, they're not counting. They're not counting at the door to, okay, how many people we got inside the store right now? Oh, okay, well, we got to stop. We need a cool down moment. No more people can, they aren't policing. As far as aisle controls, one-way flow traffic in each aisle. From what I've heard, there's no enforcing. You can pretty much just do your own thing. Yeah, they got little cutesy little signs here and there, but nobody's enforcing it. Motherfuckers aren't wearing their mask, apparently. That was a big thing that I heard. This is for Walmart, people. This is for Walmart. So pretty. That's all I gotta say. That's what I mean when I'm talking fucking roulette. That is what I mean when I'm talking roulette. So for guys like Roman Reigns, who's not back just yet, and he hears shit like this, hey, as far as I'm concerned, that would probably make him double down even more and say, I'm glad I'm not back just yet, because this shit is still chaotic. I'll tell you what's more surprising, for me particularly. What's really surprising is the fact that guys like Daniel Bryan's got a young kid at home, another one on the way, unless it's already happened. But he's got young kids, and he is still leaving that comfort zone. He's still leaving that bubble, and he's still coming out to perform. What the fuck? And then you've got guys like Randy Orton to a certain degree, because Randy Orton has a young kid. Randy Orton, he's coming out. Edge is coming now. Well, Edge now got, unfortunately, the surgery there with the tricep area, so he's done for a little bit. But you get the point that I'm making. Some of these stars that have young kids, Bray Wyatt, you just can't help but, man, you guys are brave. You guys are pretty bold to leave that bubble and go do this. It's crazy. It's crazy. I see Subia with a comment here in the chat. He said, I use the online pickup at Walmart. Don't even get out of the car. I don't blame you. That's how a lot of people are doing it, Subia. That's how a lot of people are doing it. And it's honestly the smartest thing to do. It's the smartest thing to do, because I know if you try stuff like Peapod, places where, I'll just have my groceries delivered to my home, Harris Teeter, shit like that. I know when you try shit like that, man, you could be, I don't know how it is now, but I remember I had tried to see, just for shits and giggles, I had tried to see if I could order groceries to come to my home online. I want to say it was early April. And man, there was at least a 4 to 5 week delay. Like, I thought, like, okay, anything this week? No. Okay, well, what about next week? No. Well, what about the third week? No. What about the fourth week? There's one date. And then there's a couple of dates in the fifth week. It was ridiculous. It was fucking ridiculous. Amazon was experiencing a huge spike. It was crazy. It was crazy what was going on. Yeah, that's big booming business right now, as far as groceries, ordering them online and then picking them up. Yeah, best way to fucking go right now. Best way to fucking go right now. So if you guys like Walmart and you haven't looked into going online yet, you might want to do like Subia is suggesting, which is order your shit on the Walmart website. Hey, you ain't got to even get out of your damn car. All you got to do is just pop your fucking trunk. Greet the motherfucker, of course, but, pop the fucking trunk. They load it up, and you want to give them a tip, break them off a little something, something, and then, boom, keep it moving along. That's the best way to fucking do it. These are crazy times that we're in right now, man. Crazy fucking times. I remember, I told you guys this. I remember, my furry little daughter, Maggie. She had got real sick last month. She wasn't eating for days. I told you guys about that. You remember, right? She was sick. She wasn't eating for consecutive days, and we couldn't quite figure out what was going on with her. And ultimately, we had to take her to a vet. We had no choice. We tried to wait it out. Normally, whenever she, gets a little sick, upset tummy or whatever, normally boiled egg, that does the trick. That does the trick. But nah, this was really elevated. Normally she don't really, mean, she loves me, but she loves her mommy. So put it to you this way: when mommy leaves out for work, okay, hey, I got daddy. Now I'm her favorite. So she'll follow me around, see what all I'm doing. If I'm in the bed, maybe, she wants to get on the bed too, hang out with me. So she'll be attached to me, you know, only when mom's not around. But man, when she was acting really, really, it scared the hell out of both of us because we really weren't sure what was going on with her. But I mean, she was so miserable. Uh, Many times during that whole ordeal, she would just come right to me. I'm like, what, you want daddy's touch? Like, I mean, it was like, what the hell's going on? And we had to take her to a vet, and we kind of had to do like what went down with Subia there at Walmart. We were in the car. Thought maybe we could, under the circumstances, tag along with our child here, our furry child. And no, we had to stay in the car, basically hand her over out, roll the window down of the car, hand her out, like she's a fucking, bag of carry out food or whatever to some Max person, and they disappear with her for a couple of hours. That's the new norm for right now. That's the new norm. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy, man. Somebody's usually always asking me, oh man, I bet you can't wait for this to be over with the mask. Bet you can't wait for this to be over with the mask. And it's like, nah, I'm good. And I sincerely mean that. I'm good with the whole mask thing. Where I go, give me a second here. I got it. It was a little gnat that was attracted to the light here. I actually saw when it came in too. But I say, nah, it's like the masks don't really bother me. Using the face coverings and all that, that doesn't really bother me. Especially for me right now during this time of the year, because my allergies always kicks my ass. So for me, this is great right now. What's going on with the face coverings, because I don't have to inhale as much pollen. I don't have to rely on allergy medicine as much, not unless the pollen is really, really, really fucking high and I have no other choice. So for people like me that has seasonal allergies, this is great as far as doing face coverings and all that shit goes. But no, I would say the thing where I go, well, I wish this, we could be done with this. I'm just looking forward to things being almost back to normal, to the point where, like the example I gave you with the vet, okay, well, now we can walk in with our pet, we can stay right there. And of course you gotta, space it out. Obviously you can only have but a certain amount of people inside an establishment at the same time, right? So it's all about, fine tuning that and everything. But that's really it. Once you kind of master that a little bit, everything else gets a little bit easier, I think. But it's interesting what's going on. But you know what? I'll tell you this. I think life as we know it will quite never be the same. Because feel me for a second. It's bad enough we've got people that, I don't really like going to the movies anyway. Because every time I go to the movies, I usually end up being sick. Somebody's passing gas. They don't know how to go to the restroom and let that motherfucker out that way. People are talking while I'm trying to enjoy my movie. That whole spiel that I'm talking about. So as far as, life getting back to where it was pre-COVID, no, I think life as we knew it before COVID, it'll never be the same, because you've already had a decent amount of people that weren't really fond of doing certain things that involved the public And now that this shit has gone down, it's gonna make people even more. Well, you know what? I'm okay. I don't need to be doing that. Perfect example. Perfect example. I'll put it on myself. And I don't know where you guys are, but for me, I was telling Tammy this too. I was telling her this actually on our way home because she picked me up from work. And I said, hey, I got a taste for something. You hungry? She goes, yeah, I could go for a bite. But we got some stuff in the house. I said, well, ain't nothing in the house. So, like, we got to do some real grocery shopping. All we got is shit that you can pop in the microwaves. Like, we need to make some real food. She's like, yeah, that's true. So, well, how about McDonald's? So we actually had some McDonald's, and, obviously you can't sit inside of McDonald's. So, we did drive through, found a place to park, and, weather was nice, crisp, cool breeze. We were just enjoying ourselves, listening to some music, eating and talking in the car and everything. And I told her, I said, I said, we're never really going to get back to normal again after this. And I brought up the whole movie thing. I said, for me, it's bad enough. There's not really that many movies in the theater. Oh man, I want to go see that. I got to see that. That shit. Oh man, I gotta be able to see that. I want to be able to talk about that. But now that this shit has gone down, it's okay. Well, you know what? I'm really not that fond of going to the theaters now. It's bad enough. Okay, I'm paying 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, $20 to see a movie in the theater. And then you expect me to turn around 3 to 5 months later, usually 3 months, but I'll say 5 months just to be nice. You expect me to turn around, buy that same movie on DVD. So I'm going to give you guys another $25 or whatever. So you got that. And then what I just said, you're hearing other people's audio. Somebody's got that annoying little kid that won't shut up. Or somebody decided that rather than pay a babysitter, they're going to take their baby with them. And the baby's wah, 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 wah. So you can't enjoy the fucking movie. Yeah. And then, bad enough, the whole thing with the germs and all that other shit. Now, I'm not saying that with everything that's going on, it's going to force people to be more antisocial, but it is going to, you could kind of make an argument actually that what's going on with this, it is going to force people, you could make an argument for it. You could make a legit argument for it, but I don't really think antisocial is truly the end result. I think it's just more people are gonna be cautious about, especially if they have a weak immune system, seasonal allergies or all year round allergies, diabetes, any type of minor to a chronic health condition. You could forget about those type of people that's going to be participating in things like going to a theater. I mean, I'm trying not to think about it right now, but for 3 consecutive years, we had covered AwesomeCon. This year was officially the first time that we skipped AwesomeCon because we thought we were getting married this year, but then the pandemic went down. But I tell you what, like when it comes to public events, I can't personally see myself not while there isn't a vaccine. That's the other thing. It's like, okay, well, how soon can we get this fucking vaccine out there and it's part of the new norm? We just give it to us like it's fucking aspirin. Until we really get to that point, that's what I mean when I say, life as we know it, it's not going to be the same for quite a while. And then I would suspect even when you do have in a case where, okay, here you go. Here's your vaccine. Here you go. Even when you can give it out like fucking Pez candy, I still feel you're gonna have people that just, nah, you know what? Yeah, the theater, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Who's playing where? Who's performing? Yeah, I'm good. But you're still now. Two things can be true. That first part of what I just said, that's going to be true. But you're also still going to have people that are still going to want to do things like that. How do you go about policing? And oh my God, we'd be here all night. Just, it's a weird fucking rabbit hole. That's the point. If there's anything you can take away from what I'm talking about right now, it is a weird, deep as fuck rabbit hole that just, okay, well, what about this? Whoa, what about? And you would just be going further and further down that fucking rabbit hole. It could be a fun rabbit hole for some, but not for everybody else. I tell you what, not for everybody else. I did see Impact Wrestling for this week. I gotta commend Impact Wrestling, by the way. Impact Wrestling during these weird times, they've been putting out some pretty decent content. You've heard me give them a lot of praise within recent weeks, sometimes consecutive weeks, and I gotta commend Impact Wrestling. They have been on a nice, steady little roll. I got a bone to pick with Access TV and Ed Nordholm. Tell you a little bit more in a hot second here, but just key points from this week's Impact Wrestling. We had a main event match, which was a street fight as Eddie Edwards took on Ace Austin. This was a feud renewed, if you will, here. And Ace Austin had won, but he had got a major assist from Madman Fulton. Madman Fulton had came out in the last few seconds of this matchup and just destroyed the hell out of Eddie Edwards. And so the way it's looking right now, the way that this was kind of set up, and I love that Madison Rayne really had. That's one thing I like about Impact Wrestling too is the way they have Josh Matthews and Madison Rayne, real life couple by the way, the way they have them play off of each other. I like the fact, whoever's in charge of writing Impact, they don't try to insult the fans' intelligence, by dragging something out that is very obvious on and on and on and on and on and on and on. As soon as Madman Fulton made his presence felt, laid out Eddie Edwards and everything, Madison Rayne, I mean, right on fucking cue, she jumps out there and she goes, Josh, are you thinking what I'm thinking? No, Madison, what? And Madison goes, so I bet you Madman Fulton is the one that was responsible for the attacks on the Rascals, off and on these past couple of weeks. He had to be. Like, how else would you explain it? So on this same episode, we saw one of the guys from I said Rascals. ah, you know, I love them, but they are the Rascals. But still, it's like every time I think of Rascals, I think of the Little Rascals. So I always chuckle when Rascals. But no, in the same episode, one of the guys from Rascals had got his ass whooped. It was the black dude. The black dude had got his ass whooped. He was left, laid out, and the other two guys, they were just on a crusade to find out who the hell has been causing all of this the past couple of weeks. So we saw them talk to Michael Elgin. Elgin's like, nah, man, my MO, when I've done something, because you need an ambulance truck for somebody, you're going to hear the sirens. Unless you hear the sirens and all that other shit, yeah, you pretty much forget about that. Another thing, I'd like coming head on at my opponent. I don't believe in no cheap shit stuff like that. Kind of got, okay, that might be true and all, but how exactly does that explain what you did to Ken Shamrock a couple of weeks ago? But it ain't my business to remember that, right? Okay, so whatever, I get it. Then we saw the Rascals talking to the guys from Reno Scum. They're like, nah, it ain't us. Nah, you need to go maybe talk to the guys, the North. You know, maybe that's who you need to go pinpoint because they was talking mad trash about you guys. So Madman Fulton, it seems that he's the one that maybe is responsible for everything that had went down. Also, we did have I gotta put the quotations up in the air, the TNA World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Moose defeating Hernandez. Pretty good matchup. However, post match, soon as it ended, we hear Ethan Carter III's entrance music play, the Trouble, Trouble, Trouble joint. And Moose is looking confused, like, okay, why is EC3's music playing? What the fuck's going on here? And then Moose's music came on. So I mean, look, it's pretty obvious. In case you don't know by now, you're not following EC3. EC3 has already let the cat out of the bag that he is returning to Impact Wrestling. If you're following him on his social media accounts, he's already, I won't say spoil it. In his defense, he basically said control the narrative, something along those lines. And so he basically revealed himself on social media that he is returning to Impact Wrestling. We did get another hint on this same episode as the show went off that a former World Heavyweight Champion is coming back to Impact. So you hear that, you're going, oh, a former World Heavyweight Champion. You're going, okay, well, just process of elimination. And then on top of that, EC3 did put out what he put out on his social media. Check him out. If you haven't checked him out on social media as of late, do yourselves a favor and check him out because he's been putting up some pretty solid shit. He's definitely worth a follow. He's got one badass t-shirt that's running around. I actually might scoop that up. We'll see. I might scoop it up. Teasing too that he might be doing something with ROH. So, you know, guys that haven't watched ROH in a good minute might want to keep tabs on them. You know, he's kind of teasing a little something though with them as well. So peep that out. But those were really your meat and potatoes. There was a decent knockouts match. Kimberly taking on Navia. Navia picking up the victory. That was actually a pretty good matchup. Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steelz, they were at ringside watching while eating popcorn. That is a damn, I gotta tell you, they have clicked. I've been very impressed with their alliance. I mean, it hasn't even been several weeks. I think, man, these girls came together, what? Seems like these girls came together almost 3 weeks ago, it feels like. And, man, they are just, I mean, they're like this. I can't really, I got to get an assist here. There we go. They're like that. They flow very, very well. For those of you that's going to be listening to the audio version of this, wondering, what are you laughing about? Well, if you're watching the web stream, you'd be able to see what I was doing, but I had tried to put my two first index fingers together and cross them, and I couldn't do it, so I had to get an assist from my other hand in order to do it. But yeah, pretty good episode of Impact Wrestling for this week. Damn good opener too. The tag team titles were on the line as the North defended against the Rascals. Dees and Wentz, North picking up the victory, but they were pretty pissed off that nobody was in attendance to watch them have what they felt was a really damn good performance, a really good match. So kind of makes you wonder how exactly, all right, you're pissed off about this, so what are you going to do? I kind of feel that there is a reasoning to the madness. I don't think that was randomly, you feel where I'm coming from? I don't think that the North just randomly, where is everybody? There's got to be more to that. I'm kind of under the impression maybe they might try to hold the titles hostage against Impact Management and say something along the lines of, we're not putting these titles on the line again unless we have some type of an audience. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried some shit like that. Also, I didn't get a chance to talk about this last week because last week we were on vacation and all, but I got one gripe to pick with Impact, which is this. I said Impact's been doing some pretty good stuff, but they got one huge flaw that's going on right now. So you do this thing where Scott D'Amore, who is an Impact executive, addresses the situation with Tessa Blanchard in the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. Talk about how she hasn't been there to defend the title, blah this, blah that. So basically, coming up at Slammiversary, she's got to defend the title. She's going to be defending it against a boatload of people. As a matter of fact, let me pull up the card right now for Slammiversary. So, and it's coming up on July 18th, by the way. So Tessa Blanchard is supposed to be defending it in a 5-way intergender match. She's defending it against Michael Elgin, Eddie Edwards, Ace Austin, and Trey. Okay, so all right, but I wish some type of a stipulation would have been put out there if you're gonna really sweeten the pot, which is, hey, we need a Impact World Champion, and if Tessa Blanchard does not show up to defend the title at this pay-per-view, one way or another, the Impact World Championship will be represented. It's either going to be her defending the title against the other participants that was just named, or it's going to be those 4 guys facing each other, and without a shadow of doubt, coming out of that Slammiversary, there's going to be a new Impact World Champion. So I was kind of looking for that, but they didn't go in that direction. I was a little bit disappointed with that. But the other thing where I couldn't help but scratch my head a little bit is, okay, so you can address what's going on with that, but you could not address the situation with Moose walking around with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. You could not address what Moose has been doing these past several weeks. I mean, it was yeah, I mean, to use an analogy, it was almost like, pretend you and me are face to face and we're having a conversation, and someone just comes up and they just fucking pull out a gun and they just blow a person's brains out right in front of us, and you're going, "Oh my God, did you see that?" And I go, "See what? I didn't see anything. I'm talking with you." It's like, you didn't see the person that just had their brains blew out by the fucking gun? There's like, what are you talking about? So it's almost like a blind eye is just being turned to that TNA world title. And that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I wish it could have been a case where, Scott D'Amore, if you're going to have a TNA executive, I always say, knock out 2 birds with 1 stone and make sure that you have consistency that's going on here. Which is, if there was ever a time to have Scott D'Amore walk up to Moose and say, "Moose, I want to talk to you, come here a second." What would have been the most simplistic thing that they could have done, and I would have been okay with it? You could have had a backstage segment where Moose just got done giving an interview to, somebody or whatever. Or maybe he's just kicking back and he's just putting lotion on himself. I don't know, whatever. And Scott D'Amore, "Oh, hey, Moose, glad I caught you. You got a second?" Moose just picks up his time. "Nah, I got places to go, people to see." To just see him, up and leave, I totally would have been down with that. I totally would have been fucking down with that. And you could have let that be a fucking cat and mouse game. You could have let that fucking go on for several fucking weeks until finally Scott D'Amore is able to pin Moose down and say to him, okay, you know, you didn't give me an opportunity. I was trying to chat with you several weeks ago. I was trying to compliment you for, stepping up when we needed a champion the most, and, blah this and blah that. And, I had seriously wanted to talk to you about, officially recognizing you as the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, but, and trying to find some type of a way to, but you want to play these games. So this is what's going to happen. At some point, we got to address the elephant in the room. We got to address that title. Okay, so either we're going to reestablish it or we aren't going to establish it. So if you could have at least had Scott D'Amore try to chase Moose down, I would have been fine with that. And just let that be a fucking running gag each week. Moose is always figuring out some type of a way to outsmart fucking Scott D'Amore and other people of Impact Management. They still got time. I mean, look, essentially it's less than a month away. They still got time. That gives them what, about 4, maybe 5 more impacts to try to play it out. Anything could possibly happen. But other than those little things that I was noticing, taking issue with, Impact, including what they did this week, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Definitely gotta give them props for that. You guys, if you're enjoying the show so far, do me a huge favor. Depending on where you're checking it out, make sure you hit the like, hit that heart, hit the favorite, all that good stuff. Helps out a lot. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, definitely hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so you don't miss out on any content. And to really, really help the YouTube algorithm gods, make sure you hit the like, because when you hit the like, lets the YouTube algorithm gods know, hey, this is some good shit, and helps them recommend stuff to other folks that like wrestling content and a little bit of stuff in between. So, AEW. And by the way, I have not seen the ratings yet, so let's talk about the shows first, and then I'll offer my predictions, and then we'll see what's going on with the ratings. But AEW this week, I gotta tell you, and exceptionally, can you hear that in the background, by the way? The whatever the vehicles are, it sounds like they are still fucking going. And it's already a little bit after midnight over here at my end, and they're still going. I can't tell you how long these guys have been going at it. I know I noticed them right when I was getting ready to do the show. And I think from the last time I talked about them, maybe that was 30? No, I think it was more than 30 minutes ago. I know now we're up to about at least 50 minutes. 50 minutes later, and they're fucking still going at it. It's weird. It's really weird. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on. But I tell you what, I am not a fan of drag racing. I mean, it's one thing when you're seeing it on TV and it's basically done in the form of a sport. I'm okay with that. But, when you're just doing this shit in a regular neighborhood, especially in a residential neighborhood where I am, oh man, that's the worst kind of stupid shit. But anyway, AEW this week, I gotta tell you, man, I enjoyed that show from top to bottom. Very, very enjoyable. High on the entertainment value, I gotta tell you. Loved it. Don't really have a bone to pick with AEW for this week. All their matches were good. Seeing NWA's Ricky Sparks, that was great. I did not expect to see him challenge Cody for the TNT title. That was a nice little pleasant surprise. Gotta tell you though, I'm not feeling his theme music. His theme music sounds very Chip and Dale-ish. It sounds very they gotta do something with that theme music, because that theme music, it's funny too, because you see his vignette, and look, I gotta be consistent here. You notice that's something we've been using a lot, that word consistent or consistency. We've been saying that a lot on this show, and it's for reasons, because if I say one thing and then something transpires over the course of a couple of weeks and I gotta circle back, I gotta make sure I'm being consistent. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, there was a big gripe that I had with AEW about, man, if you're gonna continue to introduce new wrestlers to the roster, I said, stop fucking acting like, okay, these are household names. We should, just know these people if we're a wrestling fan. Okay, our wrestling mark, basically. Okay, we know who these. No, it's like, don't assume. That was my message to AEW. It's like, don't assume with your wrestling fan base. Don't take them for granted like that. I said to AEW, basically, encourage AEW, it's okay to walk your fans by the hand and say, this is who this person is. You should give a damn about them because XYZ, all that shit. Give the fans the bios, stretch it out over the course of a couple of weeks till we've seen them enough and everything. But tell a story behind it. It's like, you got 2 hours of programming. You're on quarantine right now. There's nothing wrong with pre-produced stuff. If you remember, that was my whole message to AEW. So I got to be consistent here. I got to commend AEW for what they did this week, because they gave us not one, not two, 3 new faces this week. And there was backstories behind all of these people. Ricky Starks, I love the video package that they put together for him. Talking about how he was a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. I love that nod and everything. And we know how much respect Cody and all of them have for NWA. And I hope that at some point, maybe we can see NWA and AEW, work together, do a little talent exchange or whatever. I would mind seeing that, as long as everybody can benefit, right? But that was a great little video package that they have for Ricky. The only thing that I didn't like was his fucking music. His fucking music. I'm telling you, Ricky Stark's music, he talks this really good game in his little video package. You're trying to get behind him and everything, and he's got the porn music. I'm like, oh, come on, dude. But it was a good match. It was a good match that he had against Cody. Cody really doing a good job in putting Ricky over. Really basically giving this young man validation and everything that, this ain't no Johnny come lately. This ain't somebody you definitely need to watch and everything. And I'm telling you, if you guys don't know anything about Ricky Starks, you've never made an investment in NWA particularly, now while we got all this downtime, now's a good time to try to catch up on YouTube or NWA's platform and catch up on what all you've been missing and everything. But, we got him. We saw that young girl. I can't think of her name, but she reminded me of that DC Comics character, the hot babe. Her name starts with a Z. She's a magician and she's got magical powers or some shit. I can't think of her fucking name right now. You guys gotta forgive me. But we see this new girl, she comes out. I'm going, oh, she's kind of like, that girl. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. She gets her own little video package, and she's talking about herself and her respected career. This was another one that we were getting introduced to, and I'll actually have her name in a hot second. Just bear with me, guys. I believe I'm just looking at my notes here. Hang on, guys. No, where is she? Anna J. That's her name. Anna Jay. So nice little backdrop that we had got for Anna Jay. But then we see Anna Jay's opponent, and if you know anything about what's going on, the independents, the opponent that she had was Abaddon. And I tell you what, I'm not going to come on here. I'm not going to even put on a front. I always do my best to be honest with you guys. I wish there was a date where you could all see it, but I have followed Abaddon almost a month ago, if not exactly a month ago, because one of my followers, I wish I can give them the credit, but I can't. But sometimes I'll find myself late at night, you know, once I'm done with the shows, or I'm just relaxing from work and I'm just, you know, binging on stuff on the DVR, I'll find myself getting on Twitter and just quietly, you know, just, you know, reading what all I had missed and everything. And one of my followers, they had retweeted something from her account. And I was like, who is this person? And so, curiosity, I go, holy shit. And just the look, I'm going, damn, this babe is fucking unique. Holy shit. And I was just sold. I didn't even go, yeah, but can she wrestle? I didn't even say that. I just said, this broad is fucking cool as shit. I mean, Walking Dead meets fucking Marilyn Manson meets Rosemary meets Sue Young meets Kane meets Pennywise meets Hellraiser. I mean, she's got all of these things just going on mixed up in one, and I'm just looking at her. I'm going, oh, with that look, yes, you can make some good money. Oh, yes, hell yeah. So I had followed her that night after I saw it, and I was looking up her profile a little bit and everything. I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, cool. And I had it on the back burner. When you get a chance, look up her matches. And I never got around to it. And I promise you guys, by the time we do another show, I'll already be, because sometimes my work schedule these days it's just, it's not hectic, but physically when I'm done, I'm burned out. Like physically, I am just, my mind, I want to go, you know, I want to do because my brain is like that, but I know I got to decompress. I got to mellow out and just breathe. But my body is just so, I don't want to, so I'm usually just relaxing. But yeah, that was like almost a month ago. I had followed her and I was like, oh yeah, this girl's definitely gonna be going places. This is somebody that, and I wish as soon as I felt that way, I really wish I could have came on the next show and been like, guys, watch this girl, because this is somebody that I'm happy for her. I'm mad happy for her, because off the break, just the look alone, what I saw of her in the ring for that brief little bit of time against Anna Jay, I can tell she knows her shit. I can tell she knows her shit. That was so fucking weird how they just, and Britt Baker sold the fuck out of Abaddon too, with her little signs to Tony Schiavone. What was the one sign she gave to Schiavone? That girl needs Jesus. Oh, saying that girl needs Jesus. That line fucking got me. That was badass. That was badass though. But just to kind of give her a little bit of background for you guys, for some of you guys that haven't really researched her yet. You don't know that much about her and everything. From what I'm able to see, and that was her AEW debut, by the way. That was her AEW debut. And that is one unique ass fucking look, man. A unique fucking look. I don't know who gets the credit for that. I don't know. I don't know who the hell gets the credit for that. But as far as how she was discovered and all that other shit, apparently she was discovered while AEW was in Denver. And she's from the RMP Wrestling Company. I wonder if RMP is Rocky Mountain Pro. Because if it is Rocky Mountain Pro, I got to give a shout out to old buddy of mine, Titus Michavelli. They call her the Living Dead Girl. Obviously, when you were checking out AEW this week, you didn't hear that. She's also a two-time, yep, it is Rocky Mountain Pro. I thought so. She's also a two-time Rocky Mountain Pro Lockets champion. And there's something really cool about her name, too, with regards to her name. It's close to the Hebrew word Abaddon, which is essentially a bottomless pit of destruction. So, Abaddon, yeah, that girl's definitely gonna be fucking going places. And remember, she had a dark match not that long ago. She had a dark match against Sheeta. And I'm telling you, they're doing a really good job in continuing to build their women's division. I definitely got to give AEW their props. They are continuing to build it. Now, even though Anna Jay lost, we saw my man Brody Lee, Evil Uno, and the rest of the Dark Order come out. And they were very, very helpful to Anna Jay there. So it looks like they're trying to go about recruiting a female into their entourage. Meanwhile, Colt Cabana was given a contract. It looks like some type of paperwork. He couldn't believe exactly what he was seeing. So the story continues as far as what's going on with Colt Cabana and everything. But, again, something else that AEW had did a really good job this week, continuing key storylines there. But just the smoothness and the natural progression as far as the execution and those three new individuals that they had on the show this week, they did a really good job. They did a really good job in stringing that all together. So I definitely want to commend them big time on how they had did that. Some also keynotes here. Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, they defeated the Natural Nightmares. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad of a tag match. Actually, it was pretty good. I actually enjoyed that. It was a great start, great opener to it, and everything. Both teams look pretty damn good. Seemed as though, if there was one thing that I could have as a really main takeaway from that matchup was I felt they really did a good job in establishing QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes as a tag team, as a legit tag team, and as a legit threat to the tag team division. I thought they really did a good job with that. So, it's coming along for them. I gotta say, I didn't think I was gonna, really get behind them as a team, but they came together. I gotta tell you, they came together. MJF defeating Billy Gunn. Love the psychology of this matchup. And I'm not kidding. I love the fact that, okay, Billy Gunn, we know he's this big, tall, muscular motherfucker. MJF kind of doesn't really have a chance unless he plays down and dirty. And that's exactly the type of game that was fucking played. So it really depends. If you kind of figured how this match was going to go, you saw it a mile away, then you probably weren't really entertained that much by this match. Yeah, and I can understand it. I can understand that. MJF and Wardlow, they started talking shit to Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, and all hell just broke out as everybody was just fighting each other after that. So that's pretty much going to be continuing on. Young Bucks taking on the Super Bad Squad. Good tag match. Young Bucks picking up the win. That was really one of your main event matches of the night. That one went about almost 15 minutes. They cut to Taz. Taz was talking about how he's minding his own business, watching Dynamite from last week while he was chilling in his trailer. When he hears a bunch of noises, some chirping that's going on, he goes outside to see what's going on, realizes that it's freaking Jon Moxley, and pretty much just repeating literally what he had said last week. So, probably one of my favorite moments of this week's Dynamite, though, was the Britt Baker joint. That was my funniest joint, because Tony Schiavone is talking about the recent developments that's been going on in the tag division, and he's trying to get Britt Baker to comment on everything that's going on, and she's deeply offended because she thought that it was going to be about putting her over and everything, and she basically said, we're on a friend timeout. I've never heard of a friend timeout before. I've heard of just don't pick up the phone and call a motherfucker. You know, no text, no email, no messenger, no tweet, just, fuck you, bye. I've heard of that, but I've never heard of officially a friend timeout. So she says to the beautiful and the lovely Reba, hey, let's get the hell out of here. Because, she's been on that golf cart thingamajigga there while she's in her wheelchair. And it turns out Big Swole is fucking driving it. Big Swole reminded me of fucking the episode of Boondocks. It's actually one of my top 5 all-time favorite episodes of Boondocks. It's the one where Granddad is in love with a hooker. What's her name? Champagne or whatever. And the pimp comes at the end. And remember the pimp? He's like, "Run, bitch, run!" Big Swole kind of reminded me a pimp named Slickback. I think that was his name. A pimp named Slickback or some shit like that. But that's exactly who Big Swole reminded me of when she's fucking in that fucking golf cart. She's driving off. She's like, "I got you now, bitch." He's like, "I got you now, you heifer." It's like, oh. So a little bit later on, we see Britt Baker ends up in a garbage dumpster, and she's yelling at Reba to get her out of there. And Lord have mercy, Reba is just, oh my gosh, thank you, AEW. That's all I have to say. I'm fumbling with my words right now, but Reba is just so fucking beautiful. I loved Reba as a knockout in Impact Wrestling back in the day, but I personally, I like how she looks like right now. I mean, I thought she was awesome. I mean, she looks even hotter today. She's awesome. Big Swole too. Big Swole is cute actually. I like Big Swole. She's pretty damn cute. Shout out to both of y'all. But I love that whole thing. Britt Baker promising she's gonna get revenge on Big Swole. I'm curious how she's gonna be able to pull that off. I'm very curious. Is she gonna have Reba do the dirty work or what? How? It kind of makes you wonder. How she gonna pull that off there. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good there. Laughed my ass off during that joint. See some more action. I think our main event match. Let's see here. Yeah, main event match. Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, taking on the best friends, picking up the win here. I love the fact that the best friends picked up the W, kind of elevating them a little bit more here. I like that the inner circle have branched off here, and of all the people that they're intertwining with right now, I love the fact that they're mingling with the best friends, and it's basically, if you really kind of take a step back and think about it, it's kind of propelling them even more, because remember what was going on with the best friends here. The best friends, their tag team spot to face the champions was on the line against Les Sex Gods here. And, for them to come out on top, mad kudos to AEW, because I wouldn't blame anybody that thought, oh man, fucking Sex Gods are going to go over right here. And, maybe it's going to be them that's possibly going to take the belts off of Omega and Page. But the fact that it didn't play out that way, and it was just all about elevating best friends even more, that was awesome. And then the icing on the cake, you got best friends, they're getting their asses handed to them by the rest of the inner circle and all that. But meanwhile, you get fucking, one of the guys that looks to be a cameraman hops into the ring, and it's fucking Orange Cassidy. He's jumping the shit out of Chris Jericho and everything. Actually gives him a Superman punch. Jericho rolling out the ring. You're like, oh man, we finally got a pissed off Orange Cassidy. Yeah, and of all the moments where either Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, or Jim Ross could have said it, I'm very disappointed that they did not say this. But I was waiting for one of them to say, oh my God, folks, the juice is loose. I was ready for them to, Orange Cassidy, Freshly Squeezed, I was ready for them to say a little something like that, but, they didn't do that. But it's all good. It's all good. But good AEW Dynamite this week. Good AEW. They did everything right from all cylinders as far as I was concerned. The video package for Ricky Starks, the video package for Anna Joy. I like that. I like how they properly introduced Abaddon on a much grander scale to the AEW audience. I loved all of those elements. I love that Best Friends was elevated even more. All of those guys, not just the tag team, but Orange Cassidy as well. Obviously, the way things are looking right now, it's going to be Jericho taking on Cassidy, one-on-one. It's like, oh my God, wow, okay, well, that's cool. We've got MJF, Jungle Boy, I won't say renewing their feud, but you could kind of tell the way things had wrapped up at Double or Nothing, that, and especially as good of a match that was. If you guys recall, I was on that post show saying, I want to see those guys lock up again. You planted something there. Now follow up with, okay, so now MJF, Jungle Boy, them two back at it again. Okay, good. Cody, Hager, TNT Championship. A lot of interesting things that's just moving all around at the same time. Brody Lee going with his recruitment of Anna Joy, but then not forgetting about Colt Cabana. What's Colt gonna do? Should he stay or should he go? What's he gonna do there? So I mean, a lot of cool ass stuff that they did right here. The continued development between the animosity, not hatred, animosity that the Revolt, FTR, that they have against the Bucks. I mean, a whole lot of interesting dynamics that's going on here. Whole lot of interesting dynamics that's going on. And I can't believe I just blazed on through talking about that Young Bucks match there earlier, when we actually saw the Butcher and the Blade. They had made a cameo once again, kind of following up on what had went down a couple of weeks ago, and FTR was actually in attendance, and kind of rinse repeat once again. Like, okay, all right, we get it. Y'all are trying to sell both of those tag teams. When are they gonna lock it up? Is it gonna happen at Fyter Fest? Who knows? Hopefully it does. But no, they had a really good home run of an episode this week. NXT, I don't really know. I don't really know about NXT for this week. For me, NXT, look, the Tag Team Championship match, Imperium taking on Breezango, great opener. Imperium going over, great tag match. I still can't quite get behind Imperium. I can't quite put my finger on it. You would think if I liked the team like the Revival, especially when they were down in NXT, you would think I would be behind these guys. I can't quite put my finger on it, folks. There is something about Imperium that's not clicking for me. And I wish, for the love of me, I wish I could tell you what it was, because if I knew what it was, then I could easily, okay, and this is how you can correct that. But there is something that is just not lacking with those guys. I can't quite put my finger on it. You would like to say, okay, well, is it personality? Is it charisma? That's not it. I don't think that's the issue. I wish I knew, for the love of me, what it was. Maybe you guys know, but it's not clicking for me. Something's off. It's not clicking for me. Damian Priest defeated Killian Dane. Great seeing Damian Priest back. Hadn't seen him on NXT programming in a couple of weeks. Aaliyah picking up a rare win against Xia Li. A little bit of sloppiness here and there with that tag match. Timothy Thatcher has a new gimmick, apparently. It looks like he's going for the Dungeon of Stu Hart there. I don't know how many of you guys ever used to, hear the stories about Stu Hart, but if you watch what is it? I think it's Wrestling with Shadows. You see fucking Stu Hart, and Stu Hart is just I swear Stu Hart has like a fucking hard on, because he's got himself some fresh meat, you just see him and he's just what you gotta do, you just gotta get your arm, just like this, and just gotta put a little more torque in it like that. You just feel like get a little torque in there. That's the spot right there. And you just torque it a little bit more. It's and I mean, he's just salivating over the fact that he's fucking hurting somebody. And Bret Hart, you hear them talking about these stories about how Stu used to just, love having people get in there, go downstairs with him, with Stu into the basement and everything, show him some moves. And, these people are like, this old man, what's he going, and he's making, grown ass men fucking cry. Grown ass men fucking cry. And yeah, man. So Timothy Thatcher, he's going in that Stu Hart fucking direction right now. I'm loving it. They literally showed him breaking people's arms and all that other shit. I loved it. Fucking awesome. Cute little segment they did with Undisputed Therapy. Roderick Strong, basically has this fear of being he has this fear of being in the trunk of a car. So his brothers in Undisputed Era were trying to help him get over that phobia. That was a nice little funny segment. I gotta admit. Now see, that was quirky. That was fun. That was entertaining. Unlike what I had saw with the Viking Raiders, and it was so funny too because I had this one person on Twitter that had tried to say something to me. They were like, wrestling doesn't have to be serious all the time.
This is meant to be entertaining. And just kick back and enjoy this for what it's worth.
And why I'm sounding like the fucking dude from Dragon Ball, I don't know.
He's like, you just enjoy it.
Yeah, like, obviously you don't know anything about me, because, if you knew anything about me, I love quirky and funny and slapstick comedy and all that other shit, when the execution has been put into such material to make sure that it does get in the jollies, that it does get you right there, make you go ha ha and all that other shit. But what I saw of Viking Raiders, and yeah, that it ain't funny. It ain't funny. You guys experiencing any streaming issues? Because I'm seeing tonight, we're getting a little bit of high volume. I'm seeing some skipped frame rates. So I'm wondering, while you guys are watching live, if you guys are experiencing any issues. Let me know. Even if you're not experiencing any issues and the stream is actually doing pretty good for you guys, let me know, because I'm very curious. And again, I'm talking about for the webcast. I know for you guys that's going to be listening to the audio, you guys are actually going to be okay. And while we're talking about that, give me one quick second here. I just want to peek, and I just want to see how we doing so far. OBS had a new update, and everything's been going good so far. But Windows had a new update. I didn't tell you guys about that. I don't know if you guys have accepted the update yet or not, but Windows has a new update, and it is doing weird shit to your computer. It will. It definitely will. It's doing weird shit to my computer. I've had my computer now. I've got an Alienware 17. I basically built this from scratch. I have had this now, maybe, I gotta check with the missus. I think I've had this one now for about 2 years. That sounds about right. Sounds about right. If not 2 years, maybe 3 years. I'll say 2 years from now. But my point, no problems whatsoever. I don't look at porn on here. There's a golden rule in the Sanders household when it comes to this laptop that I'm using for the show as we speak, which is any site you're thinking about going to, you got to check with me first. And I got to make sure that there ain't going to be no weird Trojans, no pop-ups. I got to make sure that site is okay. That's the rule. That is the rule. Anything that gets installed on this laptop, it's got to get my approval. Because if something weird happens, then it's like, well, no wonder that was installed. Who installed that? It wasn't me. So I make sure all my shit is on point. So the latest Windows update, it's doing weird shit to the computer. For instance, when you're trying to put it in sleep mode, it's not going to sleep. If you try to do a restart, it's not restarting. They say it's bad to always shut your computer completely off and then turn it back on. That kind of is better to just put it in sleep mode. If you have to restart, that's fine, but don't always keep powering it off, booting it back up. It's been doing weird shit with the update. So if you guys haven't done the update yet, I would say, as long as you can help it, hold off on the update, because it's a little bit buggy. And I know for a fact the update is buggy because there was another update a couple of months ago where I was kind of having the same issues, but with that update, it corrected all that shit I just talked about, and everything was fine afterwards. It was like, hey, nothing happened. Okay, cool. So, hey, we were talking a little bit more about NXT. Let me look at the rest of the NXT card. I know Sasha Banks and Bayley, they were in the house. They had what I thought was a really good tag team matchup. I gotta say, they had a good tag team matchup. Excuse me, against Shotzi Blackheart, Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai And oh no, I'm sorry, not Dakota Kai. I'm thinking of Tegan Knox. That's who I was thinking of. Tegan Knox and Shotzi Blackheart came pretty damn close, but no cigar. Bailey, Sasha Banks, going over. They weren't able to celebrate that long. No, Io Shirai came in there, beat the shit out of them all, holding up the NXT Championship pretty high in the air. Still no sign of Charlotte Flair. So what is next for Io Shirai there, man? What's up there? You kind of can't help but wonder. So, okay, let me think outside the box for a little bit. So after Io Shirai did what she did there, laying out Bailey and Sasha Banks, what's the ramification of that going to be? I mean, that's a really good question to ask, because is Sasha Banks and Bailey going to take that ass whooping they got at the hands of the NXT Women's Champion? They're going to take that laying down? Or are they going to respond to it in their own way coming up on this Friday's SmackDown? Is one of them going to try to represent and challenge Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship? Because, I personally, you can do this. You can definitely do this. And it's been a good minute since Bailey has been back in NXT. I would not mind seeing a story arc where Bailey, hey, let me try to do something that Becky couldn't do and hold 3 titles at the same time. I wouldn't mind that. And then you kind of have to have in the back of your head, could Charlotte maybe play a factor into this whole deal? Because she still never properly... And where's Rhea Ripley? We haven't seen Rhea Ripley since In Your House, if I remember right. So it's a whole lot of interesting dynamics. WWE, the point, they got some interesting directions that they can go in. Bronson Reed had a squash match against Leon Ruff. Post-match, Bronson Reed got on the microphone and said he's not someone to forget. To his point, he calls out Karrion Kross to face him next week. Rematch, if you will. Karrion Kross would accept. Dakota Kai defeated Kaden Carter. Poor Kaden Carter. My girl Kaden Carter can't catch a break for shit, man. Let's see. What else happened on NXT here? I remember something involving... Give me a second here. Something involving Keith Lee. Maybe it was something backstage, I'm thinking. Because I remember Adam Cole. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Adam Cole was being interviewed. Keith Lee walked up to him and basically said, Karrion Kross is right about one thing. Your time is up as NXT champion, but he's not the one that's going to be taking it away from you. It's actually going to be me. And he actually threw the sand and time glass down on the ground and all of that. It was kind of cool, their exchange that they had, but I could have sworn something... Hopefully I don't have my shows mixed up. I could have sworn something had happened with Mia Yim and Candice LeRae. I could have sworn the two of them had threw it down backstage. I hope I don't have my shows mixed up, but I could have sworn I saw them do something like that on this week's NXT. Maybe that was on last week's NXT, because I think I binged on 2 episodes of NXT last night. So I'll have to rely on you guys a little bit more. See, anything else here? Escobar. Santos Escobar. He came out with Raul Mendoza and Waquan Wild. He talked about how Phantasma was a name associated with Lucha, and that in NXT he knew his time as El Hero del Phantasma was over, and that together with Wild and Mendoza, they're going to make a huge impact. Drake Maverick, kind of following up on what all had happened on last week's NXT. He came out pretty pissed off that Santos tricked everybody and went right for Mendoza, but numbers game getting the best of him. Escobar and his crew, they ended up destroying the hell out of Maverick. Escobar giving him the Phantom Drive through a table. During the break, we see Maverick being taken out on a stretcher. So next week, NXT, we got Reed versus Cross. Also, Cameron Grimes will be taking on Damian Priest. You saw this a mile away. If you didn't see it in real time, I understand. But Damian Priest, they show him getting out of his car. And I guess what worked over on SmackDown for Braun Strowman, Miz, Morrison, I guess their whole thing was, well, let's recycle this and let's do it for NXT. I don't know, but whatever. But you see Damian Priest, it was footage they showed from earlier in the day. And he's just getting out of his car, he's enjoying himself, and he's getting ready to, go into the performance center or whatever. And around the corner, you see like what appears to be like a little troll just... It's actually Cameron Grimes. And I see this, I'm going, I smell an Acme feud here. It's an instant Acme feud. I see it. It's happening. And then sure enough, something weird had happened to fucking Damian Priest's ride. And Cameron Grimes was talking mad shit, saying, oh, you need an Uber. So that's how that match came about. Keith Lee versus Gargano versus Balor. Remember, winner of that gets to face the NXT champion, Adam Cole. Velveteen Dream had a cameo as well. He was talking with Tom Phillips. It was a one-on-one interview. It was very brief, though. Phillips was basically trying to find out what was next for Velveteen Dream now that he can no longer contend for the NXT World Heavyweight title. Velveteen Dream, right on cue, Velveteen Dream has no recollection of what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about whatsoever. Fucking Dexter Loomis, he left a really cool drawing showing himself and Dream as tag champions. It was cute how he did it, because he basically, while Velveteen Dream was doing the interview with Phillips, you see Dexter, he just quietly like pops up from behind the sofa and he's looking at Velveteen Dream, and he just leaves this nice little caricature right beside Dream while he's talking. Dream never gestured, he never sees when Dexter pops up, and he disappears. And finally, right when the interview is about to end, Dream sees the drawing and he says, Dexter, nah, sweetie, this will never happen. Velveteen Dream works solo. I hope, look, I think they would be a very interesting tag team. That is a very abstract tag team, I gotta say. The artist meets the sadistic. It's a very interesting combination. I hope they do actually go the tag team route, because I actually would hate it. It would be a good feud for both of them, but I personally, I don't want to see them go one-on-one with each other. So hopefully it's the opposite, and somehow the both of them actually do join forces. And okay, well, if we can't fucking get the NXT title away from Adam Cole, okay, well, we'll do the next best thing. Let's get these titles away from his boys here, or you get what I'm saying. And obviously, well, I had to stop and think about that, because it's been a good minute since the Undisputed guys had the tag belts. No, your current tag champions is fucking Imperium. I gotta tell you, I would take Imperium. And any day of the week, Imperium taking on Velveteen Dream and Dexter Loomis. Yeah, give me Dream and Dexter for champions. There's just something, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I wish I could tell you what's going on, but I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. And as I'm talking to you guys a little bit more about what all had happened from NXT, I actually was able to go into my notes a little further. And there was a talking segment at one point because William Regal had popped up on the Titantron. And remember what I had told you was going to be going on next week with regards to, you know, Keith Lee, Balor, and all that. So, one point, Keith Lee had said something along the lines, because Johnny Gargano came out, and Gargano was talking about how he thinks he should be the one to have a shot for the championship and all that. And Keith Lee took a cheap shot at Gargano, mentioning, hey, you know, how's your wife? And Gargano, it was cool to a little banter back and forth, because Keith Lee was like, hey, how's your wife? Like, my wife is good. Oh, you sure? And Keith Lee said something along the lines of, yeah, because I was talking to your wife, and, you know, when she was in my arms, she said, oh, you know, Keith, thank you so much. You know, it's the most action I've had in a whole year, you know, thanks to my husband. And you're like, ooh, you know. And shortly after a commercial break, Keith Lee was backstage, and this was right, I don't know if it was before or after he ran into Adam Cole, but he was backstage, and he was being interviewed by somebody, and then Candice LeRae popped up, you know, how dare you say that, how dare you, and he actually was like gesturing, look behind you, look over your shoulder, and she sold that like a motherfucker. She just, she's behind me, isn't she? And they turn around, and there's Mia Yim, and they start beating the shit out of each other. So it was overall, it was a good episode of NXT for this week. I'll definitely say that it was a good episode that they did. 2 hours, it really flew by. It really did. The main event was particularly good. I love the fact that the women, you know, really got to shine. If you really stop and think about it, you know, the women got their time in the sun, whether it was the main event match or you look at some of the other matches that had happened throughout the night. It was okay. Now let's talk ratings. I gotta say, just between the two shows, I felt AEW was the better product. Kind of remembering what was going on with the ratings for within the last 2 weeks. I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to say for this week, I haven't checked yet, so I'm actually going to be looking after I put these numbers out there. But I'm going to say for this week, AEW, I'm going to say 724,575. And for NXT, I am going to say 695,000. So again, AEW, I'm going to say 724,575. NXT, I'm going to say 695,000. So let's see how the ratings did for this week, because normally by now we know what's going on with the numbers here. So let's see what we got here. And let's say AEW. Yep, there it is. AEW ratings. And what we got here. Yep, there we go. All right, so AEW this week. Wait, is that accurate? Is that accurate? Hang on. Hang on. There we go. Yes, it's official. Okay. So shout out to Brian Alvarez. All right, so AEW did 772,000. And the number I just put out there was 724,575. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. NXT did 746,000. Okay, not shabby. That's not too shabby. All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So last week, 1.350 million. This week, 1.518 million. AEW went up by 95,000 from the 677,000. NXT went up by 72,000 from the 674,000. That's good news for both shows. That's good news. And, that means that fans are definitely doing their part in checking out both shows. I would imagine there's a lot of, channel flipping, back and forth. And then you also got to include DVR, and I mean, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just stating the obvious. That's pretty damn good. Both shows did pretty good, but I got to give the edge a little bit more to AEW Dynamite. I just felt everything that just flowed from beginning to end. I was really there. Was really fucking there. Can you believe it? We are already at the 2-hour mark of the show. That is crazy. That's crazy how time just flies like that. So only a couple of more little tidbits I want to get into. You guys got to forgive me if we don't go that much longer. I know some of you guys would kind of like it if we went a little longer, but we gave you guys a 3-hour show on Monday night. If you did not listen to that show, go back, check it out, especially really the final hour of that show, where I passionately had talked about everything that was going on with Rayshard Brooks and just the whole race relations thing and all that. I'm really disappointed that there are not more black podcasters, aspiring podcasters, bloggers, vloggers. It really takes me back sometimes to see these people that, they talk a good game online, all about, black this, black that. And, when it counts the most, their voices are nowhere to be heard about really important matters like this. Not everything can be about wrestling 24/7. There's a lot that's going on in this world, and I digress, but yeah, it just kind of took me back. Really kind of took me back by that, I must say. But if you didn't get a chance to check out Monday's show, definitely check it out when you get a chance. Want to give a shout out to our Patreon members, patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio video content you won't be able to find anywhere else. Loaded Sunday, that's going to be coming up too, man. Me and the missus, we are going to be, for the final time, because it's the end of the miniseries, Undertaker, The Last Ride. So one more time, we're going to be doing a review for that. I'm not sure how we're going to be going about that right now. I'm thinking about doing a live video. If I were to do a live video, I don't know if we would just open that up for everybody to check out or what, but there is going to be an Undertaker Last Ride that we're going to be doing. There's also going to be a new Wrestling with the Topics, so we got a double duty that's going to be dropping on Sunday as far as Patreon content goes, so be sure to check that out. But yeah, I want to give a shout out to our Patreon members. Shout out to Gino. Also shout out to Sean Kenter, Justin Ripstock, Michael Wolf, John Davis. Special shout out to Tony Bean Gaming. You want the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel Super War, tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, reviews. Tony Bean Gaming. Check him out. He is the man. Also, we have a new sponsor for tonight's show. Yeah, we got a new sponsor. It's been a while. I've been taking it easy. I've had so many people that have tried to hit me up and, hey, I'm interested in your services. You came at the recommendation of blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, yeah, okay. Well, what do you got? What are you trying to promote? And I got to tell you, I've gotten a whole bunch of stuff from people that has nothing to do with you, the people. It has nothing to do. I've had people that were like, oh, well, we're trying to sell this. And I'm like, my listeners don't have $300 just laying around where they want to buy a sweater. Like I actually had one person that was trying to get me to promote their sweater brand. Like, okay, one, we're going into warm weather. $200-$300 for a sweater. Like, another person, I had to tell them straight up. I said, look, my people, my listeners, my people, they've been affected by the COVID. Some of them are out of work. Their hours have maybe been drastically reduced. Money's tight. If you're not telling them how they can work on saving even more money during these times because their budget is already thin as it is, or or if you're not maybe giving them help as far as, hey, if you're interested in some side work, like, come on. I actually had to say that to one person, but this one I really had enjoyed, and I'm happy to be working with them. I want you guys to check them out. So Fan Comics. Again, So Fan Comics. These guys run a online comic book store. You guys know how much of a big comic book fan I am and everything. And here you can find, some of my all-time favorites. Vampirella. You can find John Wick. You can find pop figures. You can find Magna stuff. Stuff from DC Comics. A little bit from Marvel. You name it. You can find some really, really cool stuff that's on here. If you're a fan of Walking Dead, you can find that on there as well. So, you like to play with the needles, huh? Fan, like you are a fan, comics. So, fancomics.com. I apologize about saying the whole thing with nipples, but they know what we're about. They know we're good people. So check them out. I know that's definitely up you guys' alley. And I got a correction to make. I was talking about how I gave up on fucking CW shows after Smallville. I gotta tell you, because I said how now I want to go watch episodes of Arrow. I still check out Black Lightning. I know I haven't really been talking about Black Lightning. That's because I didn't watch all of this season, because when it was on, it was basically competing with Raw. And eventually, all my episodes of Black Lightning for this past season, it accidentally got deleted. So I was, ugh. So, but usually during the summer, I catch up. So I'm probably going to be getting a Netflix subscription, because usually the previous seasons are uploaded on there. And that's how I'm going to catch up on what all I fucking missed. But Black Lightning is actually another show that I enjoy checking out. Hey, real quick, I got some sad news to report. This is wrestling related. Nobody's died. But it makes me sad to hear this. Now, anybody that went out of their way to check out WoW Women of Wrestling, I know there was a nice minority of you guys that had checked it out. I know that minority of you all had checked it out because I was pretty passionate about the product. I reviewed every single episode that had came from the second season. I pretty much have been on board with WoW since season 1. My brother in arms, Anthony Missionary Thomas from Wrestling Soup, me and him from season 1, we had did a handful of episodes reviewing the first season. Season 2, his workload got, pretty blah. So he really wasn't available to review the episodes for season 2. So I went at it solo for the second season. And what was a phenomenal season. And, we're just waiting patiently. What's going on with another season? Well, sad news to report. It looks as though WoW Women of Wrestling is no longer working with Access TV. Their partnership with Access TV, it has officially come to an end, according to a report by Pro Wrestling Sheet, which basically confirmed with people at Access TV that the network is now focusing its attention on Impact Wrestling full time, while Wild Women of Wrestling is looking for other opportunities for distribution. WoW began running on Access TV in 2018. As y'all know, it ran for 2 seasons on the network. The most recent was September through November of last year. So if you guys remember, every Saturday night I was coming on live. I was reviewing the shows. Always wore my WoW shirt and everything, man. I still remember there was one episode we did. My girl totally understood it too. And she was like, nah, hey, girl power, it's all good. Because one episode had actually fell on the weekend that we were out at a Mary Kay convention. And I brought my laptop. I didn't bring my mixer, but I brought it, just the essential stuff that I needed. And I told her, I said, look, I'm not doing any other shows, but I gotta cover this, She's like, no. She's like, I understand, it's all good. I'm like, okay, cool. And that was fun to do because I did that on location and everything. But as you guys know, Anthem, they purchased the majority interest in Access TV last year. And that's how they ended up showing episodes of Impact Wrestling. And now they've got basically a third hour of Impact, technically Impact in 60, where they're going over milestone historical moments in the company's history and everything. So that's basically 3 hours of programming every single week. And we got to keep in mind that when it's all said and done, so far since Ed Nordholm and Anthem Entertainment have taken over Access TV, New Japan Wrestling, bye. Wow, Women of Wrestling, bye. So it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. And I was very passionate about how I had enjoyed the partnership between Impact Wrestling and Wild Women of Wrestling. I had loved the fact that they had Tessa Blanchard. I love, I thought it was weird that they didn't have Tessa acknowledge Impact and, vice versa. I thought that was a little bit weird, but just putting that to the side, I still thought it kicked mega fucking ass that Tessa Blanchard was, the way she was utilized on WoW and the way all the women that she worked with, just the elevation game. Everybody had brought their game up and everything. And this was back during the period where Tessa Blanchard, before all that controversial shit had went down, Tessa was white fucking hot. Anything that she fucking touched, I mean, that shit was fucking hot. And so you also saw Kiera Hogan. Kiera Hogan was really coming into her own. If you remember, there were episodes of my WoW reviews where I gave her a lot of praise and was very complimentary in how she was really blossoming as a personality and everything. And now you got all this shit that's going on. There's reports floating around that's saying an announcement from WoW about a new distribution method is expected once restrictions regarding COVID-19 are lifted. I'll tell you what, and I know Mish will definitely be interested, if we can sit down once things really start to get a little better here with COVID and everything, we'll definitely reach out to the people at the WoW promotion. I know David McClain, he really had enjoyed his conversation with us and everything. If we could maybe, sit down with him and find out what's going on with the promotion and everything. A little heartbroken to hear that though. I really am. I really am, because it makes you wonder exactly what were they trying to do exactly with New Japan and with Wild Women of Wrestling. What exactly were they trying to do, if at all? You hear on the one hand, New Japan supposedly they really weren't trying to do the mingling of talents, and Impact just, well, there's the door, see yourself out, right? So what exactly, how could you not coexist with WoW when all they strictly focus on is women action? How could you not have Impact and WoW coexist? I'm just curious. It's weird, and that really would have been a great 1-2 punch. I personally felt. Just imagine if you would have put WoW on at 8 p.m. Have them basically set up Impact Wrestling for those 2 hours that they're on, and then nightcap Impact in 60. You could have did that, but yeah, I'm finding myself watching Access TV less and less since they've been making the moves that they've been making. It is what it is. Also, some interesting news with regards to WWN live events. Gabe Sapolsky had issued a statement on Twitter saying that refunds for WWN live events that were canceled due to the pandemic, well, you're going to be able to get refunds. He said on Twitter, we just got an update from eTix. They've made some refunds. The rest will be made in the next week or two. They are working on them and everyone will be refunded. My deepest apologies. It has taken this long. I'm not going to make any excuses, but I assure you this has been the foremost thing on our minds, and we are doing everything we can to do this, to get this done as quickly as possible. I understand if you are angry and upset, you will be made whole. If you are owed a refund, be safe and well. So it's kind of interesting because some of his tweets, I think he made it a protected account now or whatever, but I was seeing what some people were saying, and one of the things that people were bringing up was that he protected his tweets when he announced everything on WWN was 50% off, and to buy a shirt to wear wherever, if he is wrestling. It's kind of weird what's going on there, but so far it looks like maybe about 20 people had got refunds. So, if you did business with WWN live there, check your bank statements, your bank accounts and all that for the next couple of weeks, and hopefully you guys will be ready to go. Other than that, there's a couple other little tidbits that I see we can get into, but I'm not going to get into them. There's no reason to get into them because we got 2 more shows that's going to be coming at you guys later in the week. So particularly on the weekend. So for now, I'm going to say, we'll stick a fork in it. We'll call it DONE done. I mean, you guys got about 2 hours and roughly about 20 minutes. I got a short turnaround because I got to go into work again. I got 2 short turnarounds these next couple of days. And then Sunday, Monday, I get to relax, recharge the batteries. So you guys will be good for now. The audio version of this, I'm not going to be sitting down, editing, working on until Friday night. So enjoy the webcast version for now. But Patreon members, again, Sunday, we're going to be giving you guys you know what? We can get into the NBA thing. I can't believe I almost forgot about that. You guys got to forgive me. I will listen to the show on this note. NBA. Y'all know I'm a big NBA fan. It seems to be official. The NBA is going to be returning. It's a really cool format that they got that's laid out as the season 2019-20. It's back on. The NBA Board of Governors, they approved a plan. Basically, there was only one person that said, no. So 29-1 vote that the NBA is going to be returning. It's going to be resuming at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. It's going to be a 22-team format. And league commissioner Adam Silver, he confirmed this earlier in the month. And this is pretty badass. It looks as though things are gonna be starting on July 31st. There's gonna be 22 teams that will include 16 clubs currently in a playoff spot, 8 from the Eastern Conference and 8 from the Western Conference, and 6 additional teams within 6 games of the number 9 seed in their respective conferences. Those teams are the Portland Trail Blazers, the New Orleans Pelicans, Sacramento Kings, Phoenix Suns, San Antonio Spurs in the West, and the Wizards. Hey, Wizards! Here in the East. Each team will play 8 seeding games that will determine which playoff seeding in each conference. Those games will be selected from each team's remaining regular season matchups. So kind of interesting the way they've got this set up. So as far as how the playoff picture is looking here, for the Eastern Conference, we got the Milwaukee Bucks, 53-12, 0 games back. Toronto Raptors, 46-18. They're about 6.5 games behind. Boston Celtics, 43-21, 9.5 games behind. 4th, Miami Heat, 41-24, 12 games behind. The Pacers, 36-26, 14 games behind. 76ers, 39-26, 14 games behind. The Nets, 30-24, 22.5 games behind. The Magic, 30-25, 23 games behind. Wizards, 24-40, 28.5 games behind. So I don't know about my Wizards, man. I don't know about the Wizards. So when you look at that, it's possible that the Celtics could play the 76ers in the first round if the league went right into the playoffs. So you kind of gotta keep that in your mind. It's also possible that the Celtics could fall to the number 4 seed or even climb to the number 2 seed if the Raptors, if they kind of have a little bit of a fall, here and there. So it's an interesting scenario here. Western Conference, Lakers, 49-14, 0 games back. Clippers, 44-20, 5.5 games back. Nuggets, had some of those from McDonald's earlier tonight. Pretty damn good. Nuggets, 43-22, 7 games behind. Utah Jazz, 41-23, 8.5 games behind. Thunder, 40-24, 9.5 games behind. Rockets, 40-24, 9.5 games behind. Mavericks, 40-27, 11 games behind. Grizzlies, 32-33, 18 games behind. Trailblazers, 29-37, 21.5 games behind. Tied with them is the Pelicans, 28-36, same amount of games behind, which is 21.5. Also at 21.5 games behind is the Kings. Spurs come in 27-36, 22 games behind. Suns, 26-39, 24 games behind. So the regular season finish in the West, that's where things get really interesting, because that's where things can really be crazy, particularly with the seeding of number 4 through 7, since the only amount of games behind that separates those teams from 4 through 7 is 2.5 games. The Lakers would have to just be stinking it up on all cylinders to lose their number 1 seed. And the Clippers, I mean, come on. Does anybody really see the Clippers falling past 3? I'm not really seeing that. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be very interesting for particularly the final spot, because you're looking at the Pelicans. They had the number 1 overall draft pick with Zion Williamson. He was hurt and everything, but now he's healthy. You can basically put him back into the lineup again and everything. So you got me, man, because I gotta tell you, LeBron could get this. I'm not a LeBron hater in any type of fashion. Appreciate all his contributions to the basketball world and everything. But man, tell somebody that's basically wrapped up their 17th year in the league, hey, you can take 5 months off and you can come back. You can resume this 2019-20 season and you could possibly win the whole damn thing just from being off from 5 months. Lakers could get this. They very well could fucking get this. I can't wait to see how they're going to be doing this. And from the way they had laid everything out, I'm not sure how many of you guys are aware of this, but basically everybody would be flown in. So they're not going to have the players be on commercial flights or anything like that. It's just going to be, okay, just the players, you know, like players plane only, basically. That's going to fly them in to Walt Disney and everything, and they're going to be basically in the Walt Disney bubble. They're going to be able to fish, they're going to be able to go golfing, anything that they want cooked. There's actually going to be fucking expertise, you know, cooks at their disposal to make them whatever they want them to make. I mean, my God, they got everything. There's going to be a DJ. I mean, man, that's fucking phenomenal. Like, all the stuff that they're going to be having. So, if they go outside of those grounds, like, if they decide, like, take one player, for example. I'm not naming a particular player. I'm just throwing some bullshit analogy out there. Say you got a player, I really want to be there for my daughter's recite. I got to be there. Well, if he leaves the Disney grounds, I'm sure maybe he can be gone for only, a certain amount of time, but he's going to have to go into self-quarantine for 14 days before even being allowed back in. If the league is even going to allow him to come back in, yes, they're going to do the testing, for all the players, staff, and everything, but the way they got this mapped out is pretty fucking, it's smooth. I can't really see that many hiccups. I can't. I know despite the numbers going on with Florida, the spike and everything, I know that there's people like myself and everybody else is looking at Florida going, not really sure about that. I mean, you even got the New York mayor, or no, the New York governor, Comio. He's considering quarantining, putting a quarantine on travelers from Florida as the cases continue to rise. I mean, when you just look all across the board, yeah, there's a lot of states that, hey, should they have opened up that soon? No. But people were getting antsy and, try explaining to the small business owners, people got mouths to feed and everything. It's all about the economy and everything. So it's tricky. It's tricky, but I don't really think with regards to the NBA, despite everything that's going on right now, especially in Florida, I think the players are going to be okay. I really think they're going to be okay. And you know what? I hope we're able to get the NBA. We need our sports right now. We need them. And on top of that, everything that's been going on just from the racial injustice standpoint and everything, all the controversies, these police officers and all of that, these NBA players and having that platform, whole country is watching and everything. I mean, there's nothing but a lot of goodness that can come from them being active again, playing and everything. You got some players that actually do not want to do this because they feel with everything that's going on, with the protests, and some players feel, we really ain't got no business doing this. Let's just no. But I say, well, how else to really get your message heard loud and clear than having a platform where millions of eyes on TNT, on ESPN, on ABC are going to be able to see you, on NBA TV are going to be able to see you. Nah, you got to think about the long haul. You got to think about the long haul. You got to think about the bigger picture and everything. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I know guys like, LeBron James and, I know they're looking at everything that's going on. And I mean, we haven't heard anything from LeBron yet, so the fact that LeBron hasn't said anything opposite, all signs seem to be an indication it's a go for this return of the NBA season. So yeah, we need it. We need it right now, and then some. So my fingers are crossed. I gotta do like I did earlier here because I still need help from the other hand there. I got my fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. All right, guys. So Sunday, look out for the Patreon content. Like I said, we'll figure out how we're gonna do Undertaker Last Ride. I don't know if we'll just make that particular episode be free for everybody or what. We'll figure that out. But there'll definitely be a Wrestling with the Topics as well. And your next edition of the RCWR show is going to be coming at you all on Monday, June 22nd, 2020. We'll be back live after Raw goes off the air. So that should be fun. Be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand, on the downloads, all platforms, wherever you listen to your podcast, usually. One more time, if you're checking out the episode you're listening to or watching right now on YouTube, particularly Fight TV, make sure you hit the like. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. Appreciate that. And that's going to do it. Those of you that had checked out the show live, appreciate you as always. Thank you kindly. Those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand and or on the downloads, most kind. Thank you. And until next go round, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you next go round. Adios.